Hi guys, my name's Sean Collins. I've had my own data analytics company for about 13 years now, and this course is all about teaching you how to get into data analytics to be a data analyst. I really hope you enjoy it. By the way, do you like this view? I'm on the Harbour Bridge, Sydney Harbour Bridge. There you go. There's the Opera House. Okay, the demand for data analysts. So the very first thing we have to decide is how much demand is there in the market for analysts, because you don't want to get into something and there's no demand. So I believe that there is a ton of demand for analysts in the world, and I'm going to show you some evidence now. So firstly, let's go have a look at Google Trends. So you can see here I'm on Google Trends and I've searched on data analyst, and look at this graph. It's pretty much just going up in a straight line here, isn't it? There was a dip here, that was COVID, I assume, but really you can just see it's just a nice upward curve. One other thing, one of the top tools, we'll cover this later in the course, but one of the top tools is Power BI, and look at the growth of Power BI. Power BI only actually came out in around this time, 2015, 2017, and it's just going straight up, the demand. So that's one of the top tools to learn. Now let's have a look at the jobs in the US, the UK, and Australia. So I've got the links already up. You can see here in this screen that I've got all the links here. I will include a PDF or a link to a PDF with all these links, so you can go have a look at these jobs in your own time. Okay, so we're on Career Builder, which is the US Career Builder site, and you can see here in the top left, we have over 108,000 data analyst jobs. That is a lot of jobs. So really spend some time and go and have a look at these jobs, read the outlines, read what they're asking for. That is really the key to optimizing what you do, how you spend your time, how you learn, what you learn. Everything has to be aligned with the job descriptions, because that's ultimately where you're going to end up reading job ads. So yeah, tons of jobs. Here's just a contract, $35 an hour. That's not much. Here's a nice one. Senior analyst, $125,000. Tons of jobs. Tons and tons of jobs. Here's a nice one. Senior analyst, $70 an hour. So that's in the United States. Let's have a look at the UK. So we've got 4,705 jobs in the UK. There's definitely more than that. Problem in the UK is there's a lot of different job sites and a lot of the jobs are just spread out. So this job site I found had the most data analyst jobs. So have a look at it. And then finally, Australia. So the best one to look at in Australia is seek.com.au. And you'll see here, this is massive. There's 13,462 jobs with data analyst as the role. So if you just look at the top two, here's a junior business analyst, junior analyst, data analyst, data analyst, data analyst, tons. Here you go. Reserve Bank of Australia. Here's a nice one, data analyst, $100,000 to $120,000 plus superannuation plus bonus scheme. Tons of work. So it's not enough that there is high demand, which there is. What we also want to look at is what will you actually earn? You want to earn good money, right? So let's look at the salary averages. So these are the most up-to-date averages. USA 73,000, UK 47,000 pounds, and Australia 100,000 Australian dollars. Let's have a look at the websites just to dig down a little. So here is the latest salary information from Indeed.com for the United States. So you can see here it's average is 73,000, but if you look down, this is a nice explanation here. So less than 1 year, 69,000. So that's, in other words, a junior analyst is going to earn about 69,000. 3 to 5 years, 77,000, and more than 10 years, 86,000. And it's got the top jobs in the United States at the moment. So Intuit has got a job for 160,000 for a data analyst. Meta, which used to be called Facebook, is 141,000 for a nice data analyst job. And here's some top jobs here. A lot of jobs around the 100K. So let's look at the UK. So yeah, the UK, the average salary is about £47,000. I think the problem with the salaries in the UK is that the pound has actually lost value against other currencies. So that has affected the earnability. And you can see here some of the top jobs. That's quite low, £28,000. This is all right, 25 to £30 an hour. Here's one, a lead data analyst, £65,000. Now going to the Australian site, so we're on Seek again, so data analyst salaries. It's in between the range of 90 and 110,000 Australian dollars, so let's just say 100,000. That's actually pretty good because if you look at accounting's 99,000, healthcare and medical 95,000. Yeah, you're right up there. You're right up there with the top professions. So the final thing I wanted to cover in this module is, are you actually suited to be a data analyst? So let's talk about this. I think the number one attribute that you really want to have is that you want to really love continual learning new things. As an analyst, you'll be learning a lot of tools, and these tools are always updated. There's always new technology, and the learning basically never ends. I love learning, so if you love learning, being an analyst will be good for you. So it would be nice to have a natural curiosity about data. I remember the first time I looked at a massive data set and I loved it. I loved the possibility of drilling down and finding hidden things and just building beautiful graphs. I always get a kick out of seeing a beautiful graph. So have a natural curiosity about data. Also, a general interest in technical things. So if you like playing around with new software, gadgets, I think it's a good fit for you. So you really need a high attention to detail. When you're doing reporting and when you're doing visualizations, you really need to clean your data properly, present your data properly, and basically remove all errors. So that's what I mean by that. And finally, you need to be able to communicate and tell a good story with simplicity. Because a lot of the time when you get in the senior roles, you will actually be presenting reports and presenting visualizations to your managers or to the executives. So you really want to be able to build something beautiful and then tell a really nice story, a story with simplicity to really get your point across. Finally, don't worry, you're going to be great. It's all a learning curve. You start as a junior, you go to mid-level, and then you go to senior. All right, on to the next module. So what skills do you actually need as a data analyst? That's what this module's about. Here we go. So this is just a quick overview. So obviously you need spreadsheets. Then you need your SQL. There's many different variations, but really they're the top three right there. We'll go into depth later on about those. You're going to need a programming language. Python is the obvious choice, but there are some things to consider. And you'll need a business intelligence, reporting and visualization tool. We'll go over those as well. So let's quickly look at Excel. You guys already know Excel, so let's just quickly go over why you need it. I've spoken to some analysts who say they use it over 60% of the time in a day. The thing is, a lot of companies, they actually hold a lot of their data just in Excel. They don't even put it in databases. So a lot of the times, remember, you're dealing with non-technical people. And because they're not used to using proper databases, they may generate lots of data. And because it's just easier for them, they just put it in an Excel. They don't have to worry about it. They can just copy and paste it. Or your company is using a lot of different systems and it's just going to take too much time for them to put it in a proper database. So they just dump it in Excel. So you're going to be using Excel a lot. So become an expert in Excel. And here are some of the things that I've put down that you really have to know. But really the main point here is you just have to become an expert in Excel. There's just no way around it. So SQL, structured query language, that is using statements to store, update, remove, and retrieve information from a relational database. So when you're doing your reporting and visualizations, a lot of data is obviously stored in databases. Databases like SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL. Microsoft and Oracle are probably the two biggest in business. Now let's talk about programming languages. So Python is the language that I recommend that you learn. It's multi-purpose. You can use it for a lot of different things. It's very readable syntax and it's, I don't know, for me it's pretty easy to learn. So the other one you'll hear about is R. That's mainly for statisticians and it leans heavily into statistical models and specialized analytics. I personally don't recommend it. I've actually never learned it. So here is a graphic showing just how popular each language is. The orange line is Python, and exactly what the graph is, it's the percentage of Stack Overflow questions by year. And you can see that Python is just killing R. Just a ton more people use Python. So it just makes sense for you to learn Python. You do have other options as well, like C++ and Java. If you really want to do that, then go ahead and do it. The more you learn, the better. But I'd be learning Python first. So let's talk about business intelligence tools. Power BI is fast becoming the most popular tool out there. At the moment, it has about equal usage with Tableau, but Power BI is a Microsoft product and it's just taking over all of visualization. I'll show you some graphics in a minute. Let me show you a few websites just to prove my point. All right, so here's an article I wrote a few weeks ago. It's called Power BI is Obliterating Tableau. I'll leave a link to it in the PDF, but really there's 5 points here. So remember, Tableau is owned by Salesforce. They bought it in 2019, and what they've actually been doing is laying off staff in Tableau. So yeah, they're laying off staff, so that's not good. The other thing as well is, so here's a graph of how many times the Salesforce executives have mentioned Tableau in their executive meetings, and you can see the purple there. They're just not talking about Tableau at all, so that's not a good sign. Also, I'm hearing that Salesforce are going to make Tableau a sort of integration into the Salesforce suite of other products, therefore, moving it away from a standalone product, which it is at the moment. Other thing as well is Microsoft Teams, which is a communications platform, is going against Slack. Now, Slack is also owned by Salesforce, and you can see here the growth in Microsoft Teams usage over Slack. And what that means is that more people are being funneled into the Microsoft suite of products, and that just means they're going to have Power BI on their desktop, and they're just going to use it more. So ChatGPT, it's being integrated into Power BI. It's already in Power BI, but it's just going to be really, really closely integrated, and a lot of things are going to be automated. Yeah, so Microsoft smell blood, and they're probably going to finish Tableau off at some stage. So have a look at that article. I wrote that only a few weeks ago. The other thing I wanted to show you is the Google Trends comparing Power BI and Tableau. So Power BI is in the blue, Tableau is in the red. You can see here Power BI actually only launched around this time, 2017, and it's just completely caught up to Tableau, and I can just see the blue line, Power BI just continuing up like that, and you can see here that Tableau has actually just flattened out. So Tableau has flattened out and Power BI is just continuing up on this trend. So yeah, the future is Power BI. So there are a few other ones as well. There's Oracle, there's Cognos, which is run by IBM, and then there's 100 other ones. You would only really use those if you were working for a company and they trained you, or they paid for you to learn it. If you're just getting into data analytics, there'd be no point in you learning it just off the bat. Okay, so what we've covered so far are just the basics of what you would need to get a junior analytics role. But really you want to take your career to the next level. So how would you do that? So machine learning is one way you would do that. Now, the good thing about machine learning is that there are a lot of libraries, especially in Python. Libraries are just pre-written code that you can use to help you develop your own machine learning algorithms. There's a logo at the bottom there. It's scikit-learn. It's a beautiful and massive library of machine learning models and algorithms that you can adapt and use yourself. And you can see a link there. I'm going to show you an article in a minute that I wrote just showing you how to learn that. The other thing as well, you really want to be learning some statistics and probability. Now, you don't have to be a stats genius. I'm not a stats genius, but you do want to spend a couple of months really getting familiar with the main algorithms, the main models, the main terminology, just to make sure you can have a proper conversation about it, and then obviously become competent in it and then integrate it into your work. So let's have a look at a few articles. So you should go to my website, analystlaunch.com. I wrote this article not so long ago, and it shows how I learnt Python and machine learning in 8 months for $52. It gives you the exact steps on what to do. So learn Python, learn pandas. Pandas are necessary if you want to use Python for machine learning. It allows you to manipulate data quickly in table format. There it is there. There's another good YouTube series by Corey Schaefer showing you how to use pandas. Then you have to learn machine learning. I did this really good Udemy course called Machine Learning A to Z. Udemy aren't paying me to say that, by the way. I just really did this course. It's really good. It really goes over all the fundamentals and all the algorithms and all the models. So yeah, and it goes over scikit-learn. So the next thing, well, you do it at the same time really, but learn statistics and probability. Again, there's a really good Udemy course called Becoming a Probability Statistics Master. Here's the Becoming a Probability and Statistics Master page. I really recommend this. I think I only paid $20, so yeah, you just got to get it at a cheaper price. And here's the machine learning A to Z. They update it all the time, so it's already been updated for 2023. So yeah, read that article. So the other thing that would be really good to learn is a cloud platform. So the main two are Amazon Web Services, or AWS, and Azure by Microsoft. A lot of data now is just stored in the cloud. A lot of models are run directly from the cloud, and a lot of your analytics is done directly from the cloud. So the data actually never touches your desktop. Also, if you're going to do real-time analytics, all of that is going to be done from the cloud. So becoming very good in those two cloud platforms would be a real boost for your career. So that's a rundown of the main technology that you want to learn in order to get into data analytics. And yeah, that's it for this module. Okay, so let's talk about certifications. So the first question is, why would you do it in the first place? So let's go through it. So the first reason is it basically just shows that you're serious about your skills, you're serious about your career, you're serious about keeping up to date, and that shows you in a very positive light. That's one reason. Now, the other reason is a lot of people actually exaggerate their skills on their resumes. I don't think that's a surprise. In fact, a lot of people actually just lie about their skills. So being certified is actually a way to show that you have actually done something for real. Just to give you an example, let's have a quick look at this website. You can see here, this is on the Microsoft forum or the Microsoft training support site where you can ask questions. Just read what it says here. My company is a staffing firm. We are trying to verify 3 Microsoft Technology Associate certifications presented to us by an applicant. We have copies of the certifications, including their unique certification numbers and dates of achievement. Can you assist? So here we are, we have a staffing firm literally looking at the Microsoft certifications and then literally going to the Microsoft website and then verifying them. So that's the good thing about the Microsoft certs. It gives the opportunity to the employer, to the hiring manager, to actually go and check and verify that they're real, that they're just not photocopied. And here Microsoft have answered and given the instructions on how to actually check if it's a real certification or not. So employers, hiring managers do check, they do like them. So the next point is it forces you to learn things in depth. I've actually interviewed many people and you ask them technical questions and they say things like, oh, well, I don't actually know that, but if I actually got the job, then I would find an answer really quickly and I would implement it really quickly. So that's fine, but in an interview, you can't say that. You have to actually know the answer. And what I've found, I've done a few certifications in my time, what I've found is that it forces you to go really in depth, especially to looking in areas of a technology that you rarely use or in fact have never used. So that's just one advantage of doing a certification. So just one final point here. Obviously it doesn't guarantee you a job, but I'm positive that it does actually help for all of the reasons that I've just said. It's just an extra thing on your resume. It shows that you're serious and it just gives the employer some confidence that you actually have made an effort and that you may actually know what you're talking about. All right, so let's now look at the certifications. What are the best ones to do? Now, I've got 4 listed here, 4 groups of certifications. There are literally hundreds of different types of certifications you could do. These are the top 4, and actually I only really recommend the top 2, but let's go through all 4. Okay, so out of all of the certifications I think anybody could possibly do if they want to be a data analyst is this one here. It's the PL-300 Microsoft certification. It's for Power BI. Remember we talked about Power BI being on a massive growth surge. There is just massive demand for it. The exam itself is $165 US dollars, and basically it just covers all of Power BI. So you'll literally have to be an expert in Power BI to sit this exam. It gives you here the skills breakdown, preparing the data, modeling the data, visualizing and analyzing the data, and then deploying and maintaining assets. It's literally the perfect one to do. So you would do that one first. Now, just to go big picture for a second, here is the landing page for all of the Microsoft certifications. So you'll see on the left-hand side, so there's also data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, and database administrator. Analyst is obviously the most relevant, but I would also look at the data engineer and data scientist. Again, the more knowledge you get, the more qualifications you have, the more you build your skills, the better your career will be and the more money you will earn. So that's the goal. So here is the one I just mentioned. That's the Power BI qualification. But I just want to go over a few other ones. So if you really want to distinguish yourself when you're applying for jobs and earn more money, I really recommend learning a cloud platform. So Microsoft's cloud is Azure, and they actually have an exam for it. It's the DP900 Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals. I really, really recommend you do this. Honestly, not many people in the world have sat this exam, and if you've sat it and you've understood it and you really learnt the content, you'll be in a really, really good position to be earning a lot of money. That's the first one. And then after that, so you can see here it's beginner. After that, you would sit the intermediate one if you want to. You don't have to. But if you really liked it and you're into it, I really recommend doing this one. This will just take your skills into the stratosphere. So it's designing, implementing enterprise scale analytics solutions using Microsoft Azure and Power BI. So here you're getting more into the data engineering and data scientist levels. But again, the more skills you have, the better. So just one other thing, data lakes. I've seen a massive surge in job demand for this over the last, say, 6 months. So this is really, really recent. A data lake is just, well, it's a bunch of different technologies, but it's a storage area for data on Azure. That's pretty much what it is. Here's a list here of all the things you can do with it. It allows you to store and analyze petabyte-sized files and trillions of objects. Also here, it removes the complexities of ingesting and storing all of your data while making it faster to get up and running with batch, streaming, and interactive analytics. So it's all about massive amounts of data, making it easier, and also batching, streaming, and interactivity. So again, this is really a buzzword. A lot of companies are starting to use it. It's really, really recent. So if you can learn data lakes now, I've actually had a look at the jobs. Check this out. In the UK, so there's 910 jobs, average salary £81,000. Check out these jobs. Data Analyst, Power BI, Azure Data Lake. There you go. It's £500 per day. Again, £500 per day, another job. £700 per day. This has got some more stuff in it, but you can see what I'm saying here. There is just tons of demand for data lake. And you can see here that it's leaning more towards a data engineer. But, you know, a lot of data analysts start as analysts and then they move to data engineering once they get a lot of experience and really upgrade their skills. So there's just tons of jobs and massive money, massive money. Here's Australia, $160,000 Microsoft BI developer. Here's a data analyst role, $120,000. So if you do want to go down that path, you should start here. It's the Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals. You start with this one. That's $99 US to sit the exam. And then you would go to this exam here, the DP203 Data Engineering on Microsoft Azure. And it covers data lakes. See? Lake houses, Azure Data Lake Storage. This is what you want to learn. That's $165 US for the exam. So they're the ones you should do for Microsoft. So let's have a look at AWS now, Amazon Web Services. AWS is actually the largest cloud provider in the world. So it's always worthwhile doing some certifications from them. Here you can choose what your specialty is going to be. So you'd be looking at here, the data analytics. I would also have a look at the database section as well, also machine learning. But really the first one you want to be doing is this one. It's Certified Data Analytics. It's a $300 US exam, and it goes over here exactly what you'll be learning. Good thing with AWS is they also have a lot of free material to study with, so go and check out all these resources. Also, obviously online on YouTube, there's just tons of free resources for you to watch. Udemy has a lot of good courses on these certifications as well. You don't have to pay a lot of money to learn these things. It just takes time and effort. Also, don't forget with AWS, they have a free tier here. Gain free hands-on experience with AWS for 12 months. So that's AWS. So I'm just going to talk about the final two here. So they are both offered through Coursera. Coursera have some statistics here on how successful their past students have been after they've been certified. I don't know how accurate these figures are, but it says here 75% of Google career certified graduates in the United States report an improvement in their career trajectory within 6 months of completing the certificate. So obviously we're talking about the Google Analytics certification, and it just shows you here this table, the average median salaries with a certificate and without a certificate. So obviously they're showing it's higher with a certificate. So have a look at that. Again, all of these links will be in the PDF. So the main one, which has a lot of attention online and a lot of people have done it, you can see here over 1.5 million have already enrolled into this course. It's sponsored by Google. It's the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate. It's for complete beginners. It has a 4.8 star rating, which is very high. It's about 6 months to finish at 10 hours a week, and it's flexible. So basically, it's just for complete beginners. It covers all of the skills that we talked about previously. The only thing I don't like about this is that they use the programming language R instead of Python. That's annoying, but you just have to do it. So have a look at this link. It goes through everything here. It goes through the complete course outline. The final one, which is also on Coursera and is sponsored by IBM, it's literally the IBM Data Analyst Professional Certificate, and that's got a rating of 4.7 out of 5, and it's for analysts who are complete beginners. It covers all of the same things pretty much as the Google one, except they do use Python, and they also cover pandas and NumPy. NumPy is just another library that you use with pandas. The other thing here is they use obviously their own analytics platform, which is Cognos. Really, the only reason why you would do this is if you're working on a project and your company's paying for it and they want you to do it. This would be the last one I would do out of the 4 that I've already shown you. Just remember, the price of the IBM and the Google ones are $39 per month. So that's pretty much a rundown of the main certifications. There are actually many, many, many more different certifications. If you do a Google search, you look online, there might be like 100 different certifications. Really, without a doubt, the first one I would do is the Microsoft Power BI certification, and then I would do an Azure certification, and I would also do an AWS certification. That's where I would start. So I hope that's been helpful, and that's the end of the module. Alright, so you need to create a portfolio of your work. Now, the reason why you want to do that is you want to bring your work, your visualizations, your reports to life. And the way you do that is you display them. You build a portfolio. So just a few tips on your portfolio. Try to choose a topic or an industry that you have a specific interest in, that you have a genuine interest in, or where you would actually like to work. And that will actually come through in your visualizations. It'll come through in the amount of work you put into it. I'd say do at least 3 projects in your portfolio. You can do a few more if you like, but I'd say put 3 in, because you want to showcase different skill sets. So these are the things that you want to put in your portfolio. So firstly, you want to have a business case or a summary of the project. I will go over some great portfolios online in a minute. So let's just go through this first. You should also show where you actually got your data sources will showcase your skill level. So the more creative you are, the more places you can source data, the better it is for you. You want to show how you cleaned the data, put in the missing values, what functions you used. You want to display the different tools and the different languages that you've used. And at the end, you basically give your analysis and you show your visualizations. So where do you get the data? I've got at the top there, be creative. So firstly, I've listed 5 different sources there. I won't go through them all. They're all pretty obvious. But go have a look at those links. All of those links will be in the PDF as well, of course. But there's 5 really good sources to get lots and lots and lots of data. But I want to emphasize be creative because anybody can go to these sources and get the data. What's difficult is sourcing original data. You have to remember it's a competitive advantage for a company to have original data or to look for data in places that people don't normally look, or to put together data sets that nobody else has is really a competitive advantage. So I would challenge you to look in all of the nooks and crannies of the internet to find original data. A lot of people, a lot of individuals just create out of their own interest their own data sets, especially in sport, all the statistics. So you can get general statistics on any sport, but you can actually go really, really deep. A lot of people just for free, just because they love it, put together their own data sets. So I challenge you to find them and then use that data in an original way. Okay, so where to host or where to put your portfolio. These are the main ones here. I'm going to go in depth now and look at the actual sites. So we've got GitHub, Kaggle, LinkedIn, put it on your own website. You've also got Tableau Public and Power BI. Okay, let's go. Okay, so we're on GitHub here. It's obviously free. Now I've found this really nice layout of Tiana Paris, who is a data analyst. So she's got an about section, so she introduces herself, which is nice. She's got a nice table of contents with all of her projects. She's got a Python project, SQL, R, Excel, Google Sheets, Tableau, and Power BI. So she's hitting everything she needs there. And yeah, then she goes through each project. So I just like the way she set it out. So she's got the links there. Obviously, you can click on the link and actually go and look at the project. So let's click on this one. Yeah, so here is a specific project, factors contributing to the success of a movie analysis. So she's got the goal, and then she goes through all the code. And there's her data sets. She's got her graphics at the bottom. There's a nice scatter plot. So another one I found here, he has some nice projects listed here. So let's have a look. So the first one he's got here is a Pokemon stats. So he obviously likes Pokemon. What I like here, it opens directly up in Google Colab. He's laid out the project description well. So yeah, so he's got all his data and here are his visualizations at the bottom. Here's another nice one I found. It's Udit. He's set it out nicely with a nice photo of himself, put in a nice graphic there as well, and just gives a good bio of him and his skills. He's a talented guy. He's got a lot of things here. And at the top here, you see his repositories. That's his different projects. So let's click on that. So this is everything he's done. See here, he's done a daily COVID-19 India statewide analysis. Let's click on that. I like that he puts some graphics in there, just catches the eye. Yeah, so he's got his overview, what he did, all his steps, nice graphic of the architecture. Yeah, very good. Let's have a look at Kaggle. So you remember in the previous slide, I mentioned that Kaggle is a good source for data. So here's the page here, data sets. You just click on it there, data sets. Yeah, so if you just completely stuck for data, you just come here and there's thousands of different data sets. All right, so back to looking at portfolios. I suggest clicking on code here on the left, and it'll actually bring up a lot of different projects. So you can just go through here and individuals have put their full projects online. Just go through, there's just tons and tons of them. So here's one here, retail price optimization. Let's click on it. So it's done by this individual here, Harsh Singh. He only did it 11 hours ago. Yeah, so he's got a nice summary and then all the code in Python, some visualizations, nice scatter plot. Here's another one here, data analysis project. So yeah, just make sure you have your introduction with your business case, and then you'll have your code, and at the bottom, you'll have your insights and your visualizations here. All right, so now let's have a look at some websites. So these are analysts who have just created their own website. You can create a website with some free tools like Wix would be the main one. But if you could just create your own site, it also shows just a bit more savvy, a bit more tech savvy. I encourage you to do it just again, because it just makes you look more tech savvy. You have more skills. So this is a really good one. I just like the color. I just like the colors. Look, it's beautiful. I mean, if I was hiring someone and this lady gave me this website, I'd definitely be calling her. Definitely be calling her. So yeah, she's got all the visualizations here. This one here, I just want to click on it. Look, countries by drinking habits. That's a crazy looking visualization. I love it. It's a link to her Medium article. So this is another place where you can publish if you want to. Usually it's for blogging, but it's just another good place if you want to do some writing. So yeah, you just go through all of her projects. Look at all these beautiful visualizations. Yeah, I'd definitely be calling her if she applied for a job. Here's another one, Julia. Yeah, so she's just listed all her projects here. Okay, a few more things to look at. So Tableau Public is free and you can upload your visualizations using Tableau. So here's a nice one here. So yeah, basically it just lists all your projects. Let's look at this one, the race to 500 words. So it looks like he's comparing his two kids on how quickly they spoke, which is cool. That's an example of original data. He's done a nice visualization. He's even put a rocket at the end there, which is a nice touch. So here's another one, Juan Manuel, and all of his projects and some nice eye-catching visualizations there. Toastmasters speech progress. So he's tracked how many speeches he's done. It's an example of collecting your own data, and it's a nice looking visualization. And here's another one, Mark Reed. He's been at this a long time. He's got 238 visualizations. Let's have a look at his feature. See, he's got featured, meaning that's the one he likes the most. How has the world changed since 1962? It's a nice question. I'd like to know the answer to that. So it's about life expectancy. It's a nice looking visualization. All right, let's have a look at LinkedIn. Now, here is the profile of Zoe Douglas. This is a public profile. She works at Microsoft. So notice she's got a nice profile picture, which is head and shoulders. She's smiling. It's a nice design in the banner there. It's got all her keywords, so Power BI, data analytics, Power BI training, data visualization. She's got over 8,000 followers, so that's nice. So what I like here is that she has featured posts turned on. See here, so these are posts that you really like and that you just want to pin to the top of your profile. This one here has had 606 likes. So you can have a look at her activity here. Just one thing with activity, try to be active at least once per month on LinkedIn. The reason is that recruiters have access to a feature that allows them to search by people who have been active in the last 30 days. So if you haven't been active, then you're not going to show up in those searches. So just make sure once every month is fine. And yeah, just make sure you have those keywords because that's what recruiters search on and that's what is going to get you shown in search results. So always put a good about section. This is where you just give a brief description of yourself, all of the keywords for the key technologies, and also you can also put links. She doesn't have it here, but you can put links to all your projects. So you can link to your portfolio, to your GitHub, to your Kaggle, to whatever you've got. So obviously you put all your experience, education, put all your licenses there, put all your skills down and try and get people to endorse you. The way you do that is you contact people that you already know and ask if they can endorse you. Also, you've got recommendations. She's got some big ones there. So that's an all-round very good profile. She works for Microsoft. She's a senior project manager. So this is my profile on LinkedIn. You should come and connect with me. I'll definitely connect with you. Just in the request, say, hey, Shano, I watched your video. You're really cool. Just kidding. Just go to my profile and connect and just put a message saying, hey, Shano, I saw your video. I liked it. Please connect with me and I'll definitely connect with you. And if I can help you in any way, I will. So if you turn on creator mode, see this option here, it says creator mode turned on. If you turn on creator mode, it also gives you this option to put in featured posts. So this just allows you to, showcase things that you've done. That's me hiking in the Himalayas, by the way. That was cool. So I put up 5 days ago a graphic that I did where I got some original data on cricket scores, ball by ball data. All right, that's it for LinkedIn. So don't forget also Power BI gives you the option to publish to the web. So you can do all your visualizations on Power BI and then you can export it and put the visualization, a live visualization on a website. So that's it for portfolios. Okay, now the fun part, you need to start applying for jobs. So obviously you're going to start looking at the job sites and LinkedIn. Let's have a look right now. So just remember, each country has their own job websites. So you probably already know the ones in your own country, but just check for, the top 2, 3, 4, 5 sites and make sure you have a thorough look through them, because sometimes companies do only advertise on one site only. Anyway, I'm on Indeed here, the US site. So the thing to search for at the beginning is a junior data analyst. You can also just put data analyst. You can apply for both of those types of jobs. So we can see the first one here. It's in Texas. Let's have a look at the outline. So this is really entry level. It's only asking for SQL and Excel. Let's have a look at some jobs in the UK. So again, I've searched on junior data analyst. And the first one here, junior data analysts, 25 to 28,000 pounds. Let's have a look. So this one's asking for Power BI and SQL. They're the only two tools that it asks for, which is nice because you can get really good at those on your own. It's important to read through all of these bullet points here because this is exactly what you're going to be putting on your resume. All right, now let's have a look at LinkedIn. Just before I do that, some people are really skeptical about LinkedIn. You should definitely be using it. I've looked on Reddit. There are a lot of posts on Reddit saying that people have found jobs through LinkedIn. So here's a guy here, does reaching out to recruiters on LinkedIn work? And the first response is, I've gotten job offers reaching out to recruiters and random employees on LinkedIn. So you should definitely be on LinkedIn. You can definitely get a job through LinkedIn. All right, so let's look at LinkedIn. So the first thing, this is my profile, obviously. So the first thing that you want to do is go to open to and finding a new job. You need to have that clicked because that's how you will show up in job searches by recruiters. You need to have that clicked. Okay, so the first place to start is you just go to jobs, the top here. You would search in what you're actually looking for. So let's put in data analyst. Let's put in Australia. So there's a list of data analyst jobs here. So you can see the first job here is data analyst, and this is in Brisbane, Queensland. It's hybrid, so that means partly working from home, partly working from the office. So the next thing you would do is you would have a look through and read the job ad. Again, make sure you read everything in here and make sure you have the skills. The only technical things they've listed here are SQL. That's cool. Finish at 3 o'clock on Fridays. So another thing you could do is also at the bottom of the ad, they usually have a link to their own website. You can see if they are offering other jobs. And also usually it will give the name of the HR person or the recruiter who is advertising the job, and you can contact them directly on LinkedIn or directly through the website. All right, so that's just directly searching for jobs. Now let's say you want to target a company. So let's say your dream is to work for Nike. You love Nike, you love their shoes. You just want to work for them. So the first thing you do is you do a search on Nike, literally, and you go to their page, view page. So the first thing you do is you go and look at jobs. Nike has 1,140 job openings at the moment. So you want to search for exactly what you want. So you want data analyst. And also you should put in the location of where you want to work because you need to narrow down the search. So Nike have their headquarters in Oregon, so I'm going to put that. All right, so you can see here it's come up with 44 data analyst jobs in Oregon. That's actually quite a lot in one spot. 44 in one spot, 44 analysts. So here they all are here, tons of them. So let's have a look at this one here, data analyst. So yeah, just read through it. That's the town where they're at, Beaverton, Oregon. A lot of people have applied for this job, 200 applicants. So obviously you read through it. And you can apply directly from LinkedIn here. Or you can just save it to look at it later if you want to. Now, another tactic you can try is if you know you want to work for Nike and you know there's a data analyst job role because you've just searched, you can go back. Let's go back to this page and you can go to people that work at Nike. So you can try to directly contact the people, the hiring manager or the recruiter directly. So there's a lot of people here. So you would put in things like recruiter and then Oregon. So there's 214 people who come up with that result. You'll see at the bottom all of the people here. See here, recruiter at Nike, senior talent acquisition recruiter. That is a massive company. So you can narrow it down even more, obviously. So you can put recruiter, data, Oregon. So here's another search that I've done, Recruiter Data Oregon. And you can see here, that's another name for a recruiter, talent acquisition. So talent acquisition, lead recruiter, data and analytics. I'd definitely be trying to connect with this guy, Daniel. So you need to play around with different searches here to find the exact people that you want to connect with. Remember, the names of the people that you would be looking for and searching for are recruitment, recruitment manager, recruiter, talent acquisition, and HR or human resources. So try all of those keywords. Try the city that you're targeting and also some other keywords like the department that they would work in. Now, there's a few strategies you can try. You should definitely try to connect with them. And in the course PDF, I'm going to include some text that you can copy and paste, and you obviously customize it and put the person's name in to reach out to them. So basically, you're introducing yourself, you're saying that you've seen the job ad, and you're saying that you're interested. So I'm going to put that text in the PDF. So please download that and get that text. I'm going to put a few different versions. But just remember, it has to be as brief as possible, literally 1 sentence or 2 sentences maximum, because if you do it longer than that, they're not going to read it. And also, even worse, they may think that you can't summarize properly or you don't know how to respect people's time. So really, make it as short as possible and get to the point, and I'll include some examples in the PDF. All right, so the next step in looking for a job is you need to have a really good resume. So the number one tip I give everybody about resumes is it must be customized with the keywords from the job ad. Those keywords must be in your resume. So the job ad is literally telling you exactly what they want. So if you don't have what they want on your resume, they're not going to call you. Remember, the resume is all about getting a phone call. That's all it's going to do. After they call you, the resume doesn't really mean much. The resume is literally a document to get someone to call you. If nobody calls you, then you don't have any opportunities. It's all about maximizing opportunities, and that's what the resume does. You want as many phone calls as possible. So I've got a template resume that you can download from my website. You have to be a subscriber. The way you subscribe is you just put in your email address. But here it is here. Here is a resume I've developed over the years. Now, I've A/B tested this many times with literally probably 1,000 different people that I've helped. It's short. You can see it's only 2 pages. You don't want a long resume. People won't read long resumes, and it also shows that you're not good at summarizing, which is very bad for a data analyst. So yeah, I have an objective here. It's a very short objective. You should change it for your own circumstances. I find this wording works really well, so you can play around with it, but I would keep that format in general. So you've got all the experience there. Make sure you put your achievements. You need to put your achievements in. It's not enough just to have the responsibilities, you need your achievements as well. Education, you need all of your IT skills listed there. So all of those keywords in the job ad, you need them listed somewhere. The easiest place to put them all is in your IT skills. So that's the resume. So go to my website, put in your email, and I think you have to refer one person, and then you can download this template free of charge, no problem. All right, so the final thing to go over is the job interviews. So generally the job interview structure is they will call you once over the phone. So that's just an introductory call to see if you're still interested, to see if you're still looking. They'll ask you a few questions about yourself just to make sure that you can talk over the phone and you are who you say you are. And then the second and third calls will usually be a video call. Could be 2 video calls. And if you're in the same area, if it's a office job, if you have to actually go into the office, they'll get you into a face-to-face in-person interview. If it's a remote job, then everything's going to be by video. So there's a few things I want to show you. So the first thing is go to my website. I've written this article, do you want to 4x the data analyst job offers you receive? It's basically goes over the behavioral questions that you're going to be asked. The main one is, usually all of them are a variation of this. Tell us about a difficult data project you've worked on and how did you handle it? And it gives you a strategy on how to answer that question. It goes over the STAR structure, which is, I won't read it all now, you go to the website and read it. It basically just gives you a structure to use when you're in a difficult spot in an interview. And this is what I recommend you do. You write down your answers on a document, you spend some time crafting them, read your answers out loud, and then you need to practice without notes. Practice that you're so good that it just becomes natural. That's the spot that you want to get to. So that's the behavioral questions part of the interview. You'll also have a technical part of the interview. So I'm working on technical questions. I'm about to publish this on my site, but here's the Word document of it here. So whatever the technologies they're asking for, the main technologies, they will ask you questions about it. So if you're going for a job and Power BI is there, here is a document with the top Power BI questions that generally get asked. I know these get asked because I'm friends with several recruiters and they tell me they ask these questions. So this document is about to be published on my site in a couple of days. So by the time you see this, you can just go there and read them. What I suggest you do is you print the page out and you study it and you have it next to you for your first phone interview. So in case you get stuck, you can then just quickly look at it. It's like a quick reference guide just to remind yourself of what they're talking about and how to structure your answer. So that's really the process for looking for a job. So yeah, that's the end of the course, my friends. So what I want to do is I want to really, really wish you luck. If you really want to be an analyst, a data analyst, if you put in the work, if you learn all the tools, if you practice your programming and you follow what I've taught you in this course, then you can definitely do it. All right, you can definitely do it. So please go to my website. There are a lot of articles going into depth on what I've just touched upon in this course. Basically, all you have to do is you just put in your email and then you'll be on my newsletter, and I send out a newsletter every week. Also, please go to my LinkedIn. You can see it there. The extension is Shano-Collins. And again, please connect with me. Say, hey, Shano, I saw your video. I'd like to connect with you, please. And then I will connect with you. And again, if I can help you in any way, I will. Okay, my friends, thank you.